We're live. Yep. Oh. Good evening. Keaton Jones from Channel 6 News. With tonight's top story, we will be talking about renewable energy, using wind energy to create a sustainable, future. Now, we will head over to Kevin Aubrey, who is sitting with Mr. Conrad Hahn, the CEO of Wind City.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Hahn, thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. So why don't we start out with a little information on the history of wind energy?
Absolutely. All right, well, wind energy really started happening in the 1970s when oil started to have increased shortages. Okay. And then throughout the United States, but specifically in California, we had a lot more of the entire world's population of wind turbines, about 90% in 1986.
Wow.
Yep. And we kept moving on, and in 1998 we had a big breakthrough in wind turbines, and we started to create them, and they were about 7 to 10 times more powerful than they were previously. And yeah, so we had really good stuff going on. And real current leaders, we have China at number 1, USA at number 2, and Germany coming in at the 3rd spot.
All right. So, Mr. Hahn, obviously your company's doing pretty well. It's pretty big, and I'm sure you guys have lots of annual goals, but could you tell me your one main goal?
Yes. We have a lot of goals throughout each quarter and each year, but if we have one main goal that we want the world to accomplish, it would be to have 80% renewable energy use by 2020. So eliminate most oil, natural gas, and mostly rely on renewable energy sources. And where our company comes in is we want to have 30% of the renewable energy sources be wind powered, with the exception, or not counting solar or nuclear, just straight wind turbines.
Like where you guys are headed? So you have lots of goals. What are some of the challenges with these goals?
Each renewable energy sources, including solar, nuclear, and wind, they all have their fair challenges.
Okay, well, what are the challenges with each one?
We can start off with wind, and a main problem with wind, I'd say, would be the looks. A lot of people don't really like the look of them, and they wouldn't want one going up in their backyard, let's say. Just right. They decrease the land value, they'd say.
Okay.
For solar, there's a main problem, especially here in Florida, where Wind City is based out of, but in Florida, for solar, there's no privatized way of installing solar panels on your roof, and it's all government-based. And then for nuclear, I think it's pretty easy. I'd say that the danger factor, a lot of people think they're really dangerous, and they are dangerous, but that's only when it comes to something really bad going on.
Right. Okay, so you told me all the individual challenges. What's one main challenge with all of them?
I'd say the single biggest challenge in regards to all of them would have to be the initial cost. We're trying to do some stuff to get the initial cost down, but actually over the long run, we've seen that overall renewable energy sources, it's cheaper in the long run than the short run. And actually my friend over at Solar City in California, Elon Musk, he's the CEO, he's doing some really good things with trying to get solar panels on everyone's roof with zero down cost, and then you just repay it over the long run through a utility bill each month, and it's actually cheaper than your current utility bill on average.
Okay. So basically you're just trying to find investors to upfront the money.
Yes, that would be a way to do it.
Okay. Yeah. So why should we be working to achieve this goal?
We should be working to achieve 80% renewable energy by 2020 for a list of various reasons. Mm-hmm. Including those reasons would be virtually zero global warming. We would have a less annual rise in sea level each year. We'd be creating safer jobs. We would have more consistent energy prices, and we would almost, if we could really succeed, we would be able to create almost an unlimited amount of energy.
Okay, so what will happen if we don't succeed?
I guess just the opposite. We'd have continual rises in global warming, and our sea levels would be rising, and in 20, 30, 40 years down the road, we would be in rough shape.
So why don't you tell me some current examples of success?
Well, actually, some extremely current example would be the just over 100 turbine farm that we're putting up just off the coast of New England. It's actually going to be big enough to power about 70,000 homes with all their electricity needs.
Wow, okay. So we're in Florida. Is there any local success?
Currently, I'll say no, but in the works, in the future, there might be, because Florida's tricky. Overall, it's not that windy throughout the year, and we just an experiment, and we could have enough. A wind turbine could generate enough electricity where it'd be economical for us, but we'd have to build them really, really high. They'd have to be about half or double the height as current wind turbines.
Looking forward to it.
Hopefully, more business.
So what can we do as individuals to help Wind City accomplish their main goal?
That's a pretty tricky question, actually. I'll break it up into two parts to be easier on the audience. The first part, and most importantly, I would say for individuals to be more open to renewable energy. Through our recent history, we've seen a lot of people kind of turn down the idea of renewable energy just because we've used oil for so long, and obviously the initial cost of renewable energy, how expensive it is right away. And secondly, individuals could keep investing in our companies. We can do more research and try to make the world a better place.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Hahn.
Absolutely. A pleasure.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Keaton.
Wow. That was awesome. Way to go, Conrad, Kevin. You did a great interview out there. Now, for our last segment of tonight, we will be heading into the streets, and we'll be hearing from a student, a very well-known, intelligent student, about some connections he can make from his classroom into this section.
Thanks, Keaton. So here I am with an FGCU student.
Tom.
Tom, nice to meet you. So, what can you tell me about that interview after watching it?
Well, I can just really make a lot of connections. Taking a colloquium class at Florida Gulf Coast, as you said, just a lot of connections from the sustainable side, trying to make a sustainable future, as you guys touched on solar power, all that kind of stuff, It just all kind of feeds into the books, what we talk about in class. A lot of people are talking about that in some discussions we have, and I just think it's good stuff.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. From myself, Kevin, and Conrad, Wind City, we thank you for watching. Have a good night.